Let's turn to Ohio, and we'll continue on with the story of jobs and what it means in our local districts.
Thank you. In addition to supporting those that are out of work with unemployment benefits, we need to support small business so that they can create more job opportunities for our workforce. Why aren't small business hiring? On NPR this morning, one small business owner said it's clear as anyone can say, small business are not hiring because they don't have to. They need to create an economic environment. We need to create an economic environment that makes it necessary for small business to hire. As we all know, 60 to 80% of the new jobs come from small business. Most Americans get their first job in a small business. I know I did. And the small business on Main Street are the ones that will lead our economic comeback, not the big businesses on Wall Street. So what can we do here in Congress to help small business? Access to credit is one of small business's biggest challenges. For small firms to play their job creation role, they need the right tools to work with. And without the access to capital, small business have a tough time staying afloat. According to the SBA, without access to affordable credit, small enterprises are twice as likely to fail compared to businesses that can find credit. They must be able to access capital to be able to get their new venture off the ground or expand their operations. Given how tight credit markets are, that's a challenge that every business in every community is encountering. That's why Congress has taken steps to address these problems. Legislation that Congress passed in February strengthened the SBA lending programs and made them even more usable for small business. This important new law does a number of things to help small business. It provides interest-free loans of $35,000, giving that shot in the arm of immediate cash to cover existing business obligations. It makes it easier for small business owners to get small business SBA loans, that is, cutting away much of the red tape. So many people have stayed away from SBA because of the red tape that has been cut back significantly or eliminated in many cases. This will reduce the cost of loans. It helps small firms raise equity and capital. In total, the new law will generate $21 billion in new lending and investment for small business. These programs, when paired with existing programs at the Small Business Administration, will help business to continue in America's small business, weather the storm, and lead us back to prosperity. In addition, I support the Small Business Lending Funding Act. The bill would boost lending to small business by investment capital in community and smaller banks. The more that participating banks increase their total loans to small business, the more favorable the terms become. And finally, I also support the Small Business Jobs Tax Relief Act. It's a companion measure to Small Business Lending Fund that will help small business grow and create new jobs through, number one, 100% exclusive of small business capital gains, small business penalty relief, and increased deductions for startup expenditures. Again, I'd like to thank Congressman Garamendi of California for convening this session, and I'm happy to be with you and share with you some of the problems and issues and solutions that we have in Ohio.
Well, I thank you so very, very much for raising the critical role of small business creating jobs. It's where many of the jobs are created, as you so correctly stated. You also referred to two bills that passed this House, H.R. 5297, which was the Small Business Lending Program, and it did all of the things you said. There's actually $30 billion in that would be available to community banks to deliver loans to small businesses. $30 billion made available to them. There's also a requirement that those funds, that they would have 10 years to pay back those funds. So it would go on the books of the bank as a loan, but it would be a long-term loan so that they would have the capital. I'm told by the small businesses in our area that they were able to get $1 million of capital, which this provided up to $30 billion to small banks. They could get $1 million of capital. They could then make $10 million of loans. So there's that kind of leverage involved here. And that bill passed this House with 98% of the Republicans voting no. Now, I don't know how many times I've sat here on the floor and listened to our colleagues on the Republican side of the aisle talk about their support for small businesses, but here where they had a concrete chance to help community banks and small businesses, 98% of them voted no. You mentioned the small business tax incentive program. $3.5 billion of tax incentives for small businesses to specifically help small businesses weather the storm. It also granted a tax relief from penalties that they may have had from mistakes that were made in the past. Again, a bill specifically designed to help small businesses. 97% of our Republican colleagues voted no on that. So don't come to the floor and say you're for small businesses when you had a chance to vote for legislation that would specifically help small businesses.